Hey, it's Mike Lindsay from Vital MX, and today we are going inside Garrett Marchbanks' Muc-Off FXR ClubMX Yamaha YZ250F. The ClubMX team, of course, is a satellite team that's starting to gain a lot more support from Yamaha. They've really been swinging above their belt the last couple years, and they've really upgraded and put on a bigger, newer program this year. They do have a lot of 250 riders on the team, but definitely their marquee guy is Garrett Marchbanks, somebody who trained at ClubMX when he was a kid. When he was kind of left out off the pro circuit team, ClubMX invited him back, wanted to put him on the team and try to build up this program. So he is the face of the program in a way. Again, they give a really good even shot, and we're going to talk about that with his bike, that everybody on the team has a lot of the same equipment. But again, Garrett's the main guy, so we decided to look at his motorcycle. So again, this is a Yamaha YZ250F. We'll start with the engine. That's where everybody talks about in 250 class. The entire engine head to toe on this thing goes through Jamie Ellis at Twisted Development. This is his package. It's, again, his crank, his rod spec, his piston, his cam spec, his cylinder head spec. Typically for pistons, he works with the Race Winning Brands group, so either JE or Wiseco. I believe this is a JE piston in this bike. This motorcycle also does use a dual injector kit of Jamie's design, you know, where the injector is mounted, the spray pattern, all that is stuff that he has developed to work specifically with this engine package, and then tops it off with a Vortex ECU that he uses to tune and manage the equipment. Like a lot of the other teams we see work with Jamie though, he's the one that develops the package, puts it together, hands it to him, but the team is being as many teams as he's working with right now, they all kind of have to have somebody responsible for the service, the intervals, keeping up on these engines. So other than a catastrophic or weird issue, the engines typically do not go back to Jamie. They stay in the hands of the ClubMX team, and their crew chief, Greg, is the guy that goes through, opens these up, inspects everything, kind of relays the information of what he's seeing, what he's not, and keeps track of replacing all the parts as their service life comes to an end. Again, it is a big 250 team. They are running up to 5 250Fs between both coasts, but everybody does have access to the exact same engine package when it comes from the mechanical side of it. Garrett, Enzo Lopes, Phil Nicoletti, Nick Thury, all those guys, Jay Sowen even, they all have this exact same mechanical package, but the ECU tuning is where it does get different depending on the guy's size, what power character they're looking for. Garrett is one of the biggest 250 guys in the class. He's not extremely tall. He is a little bit on the taller side for 250 guy, but he's just built. Everybody jokes and calls him the man-child. He's just a burly guy. He's strong. He just a lot of muscle weight, just a strong guy on the bike. So he's able to handle the most they can give. So what we've heard is pretty much everybody else on the 250 program here is maybe a little bit on the detuned side, a little bit smoother, where Garrett is riding everything they can give him. Now, a part we don't see on any of their bikes that we're seeing, of course, more common around the pits is electric water pumps. The Star Yamaha team is running one, so we definitely know that there is some level of gains available to the YZ250F, but even from what we've heard, it is maybe a little less effective on the Yamaha platform than it is some other bikes. So at least what we've been told informational wise is that yes, the club team could run it. They do have the option to try it, but due to what the performance gain versus the price and versus what it would take to implement it for everybody on the team, and also the time of year that it became available, it just wasn't a worthwhile option at the time. Suspension package wise, the team does work with Enzo Racing. Of course, Ross Maiden, the crew at Enzo, Ross has worked for KYB forever, has that tight tie, so you usually see a lot of these KYB support teams working with them. They have the option of spring and air fork. You see some riders on the team running spring. Garrett does personally run air fork, which again doesn't surprise us. There's a lot of hold up in an air fork due to Garrett's size and aggressive nature. It would make sense to see him on Supercross, and again, going to outdoors, he would have the choice between the two, but we would suspect to see him on air likely all year. Clamps on the bike are from Luxon, company local out of San Diego, California. As far as where everybody on the team is on the same offset option, they do have a few to choose from, but everybody on the team is static on what we believe is the standard offset. They just like the flex characteristic, the bar mount options, and just the overall character feel of these clamps more than the stock option. Other than that, we see parts from Mika Metals, from Flow Motorsports, such as foot pegs, rotors, things of that nature. But there isn't too many like standout items. They're running pretty much production brakes on this bike. A lot of stuff is Cerakoted, things that kind of put a little more bling in it, but really you can tell the program is very price conscious. It's all where it needs to be. Good suspension, Really good motor package. And then for these guys, they do have tie throughout their race bikes, supplied by Racetech Titanium. So every nut bolt you can think of on the bike. And I believe some riders on the team use tie axles and some don't. That's all a personal preference thing, depending on feel. All the carbon fiber parts on this bike are made by P3 Carbon. Other than protection, a unique one is the airbox cover or lid on this bike. It is raised so it has a larger volume initially over the filter. It's also got more ventilation so it can draw in air easier and at a different direction. Something really common we see on Yamaha 250s, even some 450 teams run a variation of this airbox lid. Some of the finishing parts on the bike we see as well is Pirelli Tires. The guys on this team do have the option between the MX32 mid-soft and mid-hard. They also have the option of what's called a stadium tire this year. It is a tire that is getting ready to come up for sale. This kind of like a pro spec tire they're gonna sell to the public. There is a stadium spec front that is based off the mid-soft compound. It has a little bit stiffer carcass, mostly for the character of Supercross. Again, how much load is applied to the bikes. They have this little bit different front tire. They also have a mid-hard rear option called a stadium spec, which is their standard mid-hard tire, but it has more of the compound of a mid-soft, so it kind of gives them a tire that's right in between the other two options they have. Some of the other finishing parts on the bikes, they do have a full Fmf exhaust system. They do run cut side plates with the guard on the Fmf pipe, something we saw that actually, I believe Dylan Ferrandis and David Villeman originally came up with to kind of create a consistent character on both sides of the bikes for when you're gripping in the whoops. The team does, like I said, cut that, utilize the guard kind of to match what we've seen the Star team do. They do use a little bit different wheel combination we see. Almost everything, of course, in the industry is coming through W. They do use a company called Rim Plus Wheels. They provide their own hub for the team, have been working with them multiple years. They're based somewhere back east. Honestly, we don't know a lot about them. We just know that the club team is the primary only team running their product at the moment that we see at the races. As for the chassis side of the bike, outside of some of the titanium hardware we see in more stress-related locations that would change some of the character, everything about their swing arm, their frame, their engine mounts all appears to be stock this year. Nothing's really been modified or added from an aftermarket standpoint there. Lastly, the team is another of many teams this year that is working with SK Designs to do all the graphics kits. I think it's pretty cool because between a lot of the different sponsors they have, they're changing their look all the time. One week the bike's heavy white, one week it's white and gold, then it's black and pink. They've done a really cool job of kind of keeping a rotating look between all their brands that keeps something fresh, and definitely something to keep your eyes on. IG, they have really cool bikes around. This has been our inside look at Garrett Marchbanks' Muc-Off FXR ClubMX Yamaha YZ250F. Again, Garrett's he's a big, strong, burly dude. He's got the stiffest suspension setting on the team, most aggressive ECU settings. He's just hard on stuff, but man, he's aggressive, he's fast. He's definitely, like I said, the top guy on the team. So really cool to look over this bike. As we mentioned, they're always changing the look of their bike, and if you want to see more stuff like that, go to our website at vitalmx.com. We do a weekly feature called Pit Bits the night of each Supercross and Outdoor National that shows you what's new in the pits, new helmets, new bikes, new gear, new upgrades. It's a great read, great high-def photos. Check it out. Also give us a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe so you don't miss this content and more, and thanks for watching.